In this video we're going to look at using Copic markers to create a wood grain effect. So probably the first thing you need to do is think about what sort of wood that you're actually trying to represent. So is it a light coloured wood or is it a darker wood? So I've just got some samples here and we can see the wood grain and the knots in the wood that you might try and simulate, or in this piece here it's really quite straight with some little flecks, darks and lights. So we'll put them aside, and we've chosen some markers for this little project. We've got a Y17, which is a golden yellow. We've got an E33, which is a sand, and a YR14, which is called caramel. They're going to form the base sort of colours. So the first thing you need to do is cover the whole of your area with your yellow marker. So just fairly quickly rendering the whole area. Remember to go over your line sort of halfway. And the beauty with wood grain is because it's a fairly natural thing, it doesn't matter about you being a little bit rough. So once you've got a yellow in this case, we're going to go over areas with the sand and maybe just choose some areas and have it fairly rough, and you'll see some of the areas are still yellow. Then to create a bit more depth in colour, we're going to use the caramel just in random places. So you might twist the marker as you go to create a bit of interest, just something like that. Then after that we've got our base coat. It's drying a little bit. You'd use a fine liner and create some of those lines to simulate a wood grain. So just fairly simply but irregular, form some lines. You might like to think of some knots in the areas and actually put in a little sample here and just simulate something. You know, it can be a bit wobbly. It's okay, just free up and have a go. Don't have to overdo it, but the important bit with this is to keep it a bit irregular. Okay, with this one we might just create a bit of a lump, and maybe a little bit of a knot might go in a couple of those places, and you might just fill it in fairly roughly, something like this. And you've covered your area with your fine liner. The next thing to do would be to come in with this brown. We've got an E29, a burnt umber, and with the fine edge, just to create some depth in your wood grain, to create some interest really. In reality, you probably wouldn't see highlights and shadows, but to create some interest for the rendering, we'll use this and together with the black and white pencil. So on your lines, on some of the lines, just select some of them to create a bit of depth. So this was the burnt umber. Now you can do this quite quickly, or you can be quite particular. It just depends on your personal style. Whoops, was a bit rough there, but it's an organic product, so I don't think it matters. Okay, so to finish off, you might use some black and white pencil. So the black pencil, try and apply it really in a sharp effect. So you might actually twist the pencil as you apply it to create that sharp edge. So sharpen it before would be really good. Now you might just use the black on selected lines, just again to create some interest. So let's do one more somewhere here. And then pick up the white pencil and do it on the opposite side of the line. So where the black has been, you're going to have to keep this nice and sharp. It might work better against the what was it, burnt umber colour, and just do it at random areas, not on every single line. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of an idea of the tools that you need and the effect that you're kind of getting. So you can be quite free with that. It gives you a little bit of an idea of how to simulate wood. Now you could, with your pencil, add a little bit of shading or lights and darks just to add a little bit of realism. So with this one, I was just thinking maybe, you know, you might go, just watch, you've got to be careful, make sure it's sensitive rendering and you don't come in too hard. So have a look at this. It obviously needs to be on the black edge of the line, or the burnt umber in this case. You might darken an area in a knot just to create a bit of interest. And then once you've got a bit of an idea like this, it's pretty rough, but once you've got a bit of an idea, then you can apply it to your form. So here's another, this one was applied pretty quickly, but it just gives you an idea of some rendering, and then you could add some more depth to the side of the timber if it was a block like that. That's it.